And I'm very, very happy to be with everyone here today. Let me try to figure out the technical issues here. Okay, so do you see my screen, guys?
Perfect.
Great. I have to thank Professor Mohammed Lattas for an amazing session. I found it very inspiring, and I think what you talked about is something that we are living every day, and our aha moments are the moments that we really learn and progress in our lives. So thank you for the wonderful introduction. I hope that you guys don't think that I've got everything together and that my life is as structured and organized and professional as you see here, because the reality is, this is what it really is. The reality is that it's a run, it's messy, and the most important thing is that we always try to keep color. And we're not alone. Our professional lives are just part of our lives, and we all belong to bigger families. Some have children, some have parents, and this cannot be dissociated from ourselves. So if I introduce myself briefly, I would like to introduce myself as a student of Pharmacy University in Alexandria that got into my career that I have been blessed with by chance. And a lot of things just happen to you, and sometimes we don't really know what to do next. However, I found my passion through in building effective teams and in turning around challenges to breakthroughs and to bring value to humanity. And really, I believe our industry is a very rich industry where we can really feel our value every day. I did this through believing in the potential of myself and of people, and believing that everything is possible, and most importantly, believing that we must fail sometimes. This has given me the opportunity to sit in different seats in different industries. So I've worked in the pharmaceutical industry, but also in the nutrition industry, and sat in different seats from regulatory affairs to sales and marketing, supply chain, and lately corporate affairs. I've worked in companies like Bayer, Pfizer, Wyeth, Newbridge, Danone, and Viatris lately. So when I was thinking of what to bring to you today, and what would I want to share with students of my beloved university, I thought of what I would wish I knew earlier. I wish I learned earlier in my career. So I thought of the 10 things that made a difference. Some of them I did well, some of them I did not do well, and I learned from. So at this stage of your career, you're at crossing roads. You're all, or maybe approaching, maybe already there. And yes, we are our choices, and our choices will define where we go in life. And when I was at your stage, I really had no clue. I had no clue what to do next. I had no clue what a pharmaceutical career has for me. Maybe you guys nowadays are more informed and you have more access to information than we ever did before. But still, at this stage of your life, you're making big decisions. But what I wanted to do is to look at things differently. I graduated like many of you will, and I had options. My father lived in Kuwait. He had some connections. He helped me try to get an interview as a med rep in one of the pharmaceutical companies. I was a bit reluctant. I did not feel a lot of energy about going back to Kuwait. I was living in Egypt at the time. And but I yet went and had the interview. I did not show a lot of enthusiasm towards the job though. And then in the process, the hiring manager at the time told me, you know what, we have something called a regulatory affairs coordinator, but in Dubai, you will have to go to a different country and live alone. And then my eyes started to spark. And I really knew that this was something that gave me different energy. And I learned about myself, what I really wanted to do. I wanted to make my choices based on the road less traveled. This is, I just shared with you, maybe it would be nice for you to have a look at it, a poem by The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost, that talks about making choices, and that we cannot do everything at the same time, and we always have to make a choice. But the first thing that I want you to remember from the 10 things I'm going to share with you today, that you will have to make a choice. Trust your feeling. There are no regrets, just lessons. So my approach was always to choose the road less traveled and try to make an impact through that. But that's not an invitation to do the same, but to at least try to know what drives energy and makes you passionate and give your best. So that's the first thing. I also, as I was preparing for today, I was thinking, what's a career? Let's Google and try to understand, what does the word career mean? And I looked through different definitions, and I found things like the time spent in a profession, specializing in a certain profession for a certain period of time. But then this definition came across, and I think this is the one that I related to the most. It's the course of progress through life that relates to a range of aspects of an individual's life, learning, and work. And what I love about this definition is the word progress, and it means that there's no perfection. We keep progressing through life. And it links to life because we spend most of our time, our day, with our colleagues and with our in our job, and it becomes part of our family. And I look at career as stages. So the first stage is your foundation. The next few years of your life, when you graduate and you move into your first few jobs or job, this is really the foundation. Then you start delivering and achieving. And then maybe when you know more about what you want to do in life and how you want to pay back and how you want to get excited, then you move into the fulfillment phase. So I started this new job. I moved to Dubai and I came as a regulatory affairs coordinator. I really, believe me, I had no clue what the word regulatory affairs meant. And of course, it was very difficult. Imagine trying to explain to your mom or your grandmother what you did and why you're moving to Dubai and explaining to her what regulatory affairs meant. In simple, I wanted to believe that it's bringing innovation to patients, as simple as that, bringing new medicine to patients that need it. And what I did, because I was very curious at the time, was I was not focusing just on what I had to do. I had so much to learn. I was so curious. So I really looked into what I need to do, what I need to learn to do my job, but what do I need to learn about the industry? And I was very nosy. I stepped into every aspect. And in that job, I was given assignments and I said yes to each one of them. I did some supply chain. I did some customer service. I did demand planning. I did some HR work to help out when our colleagues were not around. I did a lot of pricing and access work, and it gave me a huge perspective. And not only that, I also started looking at, let's look at the broader picture. Let's look at the pharmaceutical industry. Let's look at the regulatory affairs guidelines in the Ministry of Health. And we worked with the government in trying to shape the policies to support innovation, and working along with different colleagues from the industry and along with regulators, and of course the UAE being a really amazing place that welcomes people who have initiative and would like to make a difference. And that really built my foundation. And the message here that I'm trying to tell you, don't look at the pictures here. If you see the pictures of the baby and you stick to one of those boxes that are making up the photo, you can see a flower. Wherever you sit, it's a flower. But when you step back and you think big, then you actually see the bigger picture. And that's really the second thing I really would hope that you are able to remember out of this session. Think big. Don't think within your scope. Then I spent a few years in this job. It was in Bayer, and I spent almost 5 years. And then I got an opportunity to move to Wyeth with a broader scope, regulatory affairs manager for the whole Middle East region. Seems like an opportunity. I moved ahead. Shortly, a year after, the company gets sold. And it's sold to Pfizer, a huge pharmaceutical company. And of course, they kind of override everything, and everything around me changes. And that was the first time I learned that change is the only constant. Sometimes you drive change, sometimes it happens around you, and not every. We're naturally not excited about change. We like to stay in our comfort zone. As human beings, we prefer comfort. And I saw people around me quitting, leaving the job, not being resilient enough, not fighting for a position. But I realized that the change is going to happen. And I decided that, you know what, I'm going to be the change. So I started working with the new systems, adopting the new mindset. Pfizer is a much bigger organization. And when you work in a big organization, your role then becomes a little bit smaller because there are many people compared to a small to medium-sized company. So you have to let go of things. So I really let myself go with the change, and I supported my leaders at the time to build this change, to build a team, and to bring everyone together behind a new organization. And it paid off. And in a less than a year's time, I was promoted twice, and I became an African Middle East Regulatory Affairs Director, supporting multiple markets across the region. So be the change. Always try to be the change. The fourth thing I would like to talk to you about here is my story with some breakthroughs. So once we moved into this new role, and then the challenges started to come, and the demands of the R&D global team to bring in new innovation into the UAE and other markets around us. And one of the products was a very important product that treats breast cancer. And everyone in the whole organization was focused on this product, and everyone wanted it ASAP. And I was already having a reputation of being someone who's open-minded and tries to find solution-driven and tries to find solutions to challenges. And I was approached with this challenge. What difference can we make with that product? So again, I building on my reputation and intentionally knowing that I am standing to be the person who can make the difference and be the person who is capable of making things happen. So I took the challenge, and I decided, you know what, at the time when products were approved in a year and a half, I said, I'm going to do it in 6 months. I had no clue how to do it, but I had the courage to commit to it and the consistency to focus on getting this delivered. And I started putting a plan and working towards this success. What I'm trying to share with you here is not really the success story of getting the product approved, but to be able to be intentional about your personal brand. What does personal brand mean? Personal brand means that people will talk about you anyways, So make sure that you tell them what to say. Make sure you give them the materials that they can use to talk about you. It's not about you, it's about the value that you deliver to others, and making sure that you are aware that whether you are intentional about it or not, it's going to happen. And personal branding is, of course, at that time of my career, I was doing what I tried my best to keep a certain reputation, but I had not really studied what a personal brand is. But what I'm calling out here is that there are things that you must learn. There are things that if I were you, if I knew better at your age, I would have gone and learned it early on. And this is one of them. Go ahead and learn about personal branding. Treat yourself as a product and make sure you market yourself well. We are the CEOs of our companies. Me.inc. And I've put this icon on the left here. So whenever you see that on any of those learnings, please go get a book or take a course on those topics. It really makes a difference. So after a few years with Pfizer and multiple successes. We did get this product registered in 6 months, and we did celebrate our success. I got an opportunity to move to a different industry, to move to the nutrition industry with Danone. I move into a new role. It's a multifunction role. It has some public affairs, some regulatory affairs, some marketing and medical. And I'm leading a team, and I'm well positioned in the company. And I've had, a track record of success. You're very confident, you'll do your best and things will roll out. This was one of the points where I knew that there are things that I have to unlearn. And this is here for me was trying your best is not enough. There are other things that you have to learn. I was faced with a big organization. Everyone knows each other for a long time. They come from a different industry, a different mindset, and I missed that factor. I missed the factor of people. I did not invest in building my network and connecting with everyone and letting them know what I can bring. And this lesson I learned here was the importance of networking. And again, I put another book icon here. Networking is, of course, making friends is part of it, and is definitely something that I have done, and I think that we need all to do, because we live with our colleagues more than we stay at home, so we need to have friends. But it's also being intentional about who you meet, when to meet, and what to say. And let's admit it's awkward. Let's acknowledge the awkwardness of this process, and let's go learn about it. It makes a huge difference. It could have accelerated my learning and my development in this role. And I'm very happy to look back at certain points in my career and be able to say, this I could have done better. Time passes. I move back to Pfizer. I get called to another challenge there. The team was, they were, the regulatory affairs team had no leader. The leader had left, and they are having a high turnover. Results are not being achieved. Several challenges ahead. My previous leaders, they call me, please, if you would like to help us, we have a role for you. And I decided to move back to Pfizer. And then the call comes to me again, telling me, trying your best is not enough. What I did in that role at the beginning was, I was trying really to work hard, retain everyone in the team, focus on deliverables and get things done. But it was a lot. Huge company, huge number of products, many people. And I realized that I needed structure into my process. And this is when I called one of my team members who has studied quality management. And I told him, let's look into the structure of how we do things. And he came up to me with a 6 Sigma process. And we called the project Eagle Eye. And this project looked into the process from start to end and how we can improve it by looking at through the process and how we are delivering, and looking at our KPIs and how we can improve them through a 6 Sigma process. And this was the learning for me that, again, trying your best is not enough. Go learn some process improvement tools. And again, this is a thing that I would really call each one of you to go ahead and get yourself some education on different quality management aspects and process improvement tools. After all of the different successes I've had, and we did really achieve a lot with this project as well, Pfizer went through another restructure. And now we had 2 parallel teams that had to come together. And one leader will be assigned, and it's going to be a very big role that I really aspired for. And I thought I did everything I could, and I delivered as much as possible to be able to be given this job. But again, life teaches you, and I want to remind you all that you have to know that you will fail. There will be times where you will fail and you will not get what you wanted. And as much as I worked hard for this job, and as much as I felt that I deserved it, I did not get it. and I was what the Pfizer process calls you displaced. So you don't have a role now. You have to look for another role within the organization. And for me, that was, a huge shock, given that, someone who has been very successful and has been delivering results, to be told that, you know what, you need to look for another job. And then comes another learning. So you need to know that you will fail sometimes. But then comes the learning that followed this for me right after. And I had to remember that I had to ask myself, did you ask for help? And I'm asking each one of you now to go back and check. Do you have a mentor? Do you have a sponsor? Always ask yourself those questions. And please remember, trying your best is not enough. And I'm giving you the lessons I've learned, because that's my strength and my weakness. I work really hard, but then I needed always to remember that trying my best is not enough, and success is not linear, and that I had to look at things from different angles. So a sponsor, I'm not sure if everyone knows what's a sponsor, but a sponsor is someone that really believes in you. It can be someone who has been a mentor in the past, or has been a leader or a manager that has managed has been your manager in the past, or someone who just believes in your capabilities. And at any point in time, at any job you get, make sure you have multiple mentors and at least a sponsor that is more senior than you and can help you move into different roles and give the recommendations needed, because people trust what their trusted people tell them. And what happened was better than I imagined, because I was given an amazing opportunity to lead a sales and marketing team. So, given my background, had no sales and marketing, and I was had the right branding, personal branding. I had the right support, and I had the sponsors to help me. And people saw that I always looked beyond my current scope, and I could move and be agile from one role to the other. I was given this amazing opportunity. But then you're faced with this new situation where you're not the smartest in the room anymore. Your team know better than you, and you will have to really lead from behind and be able to allow creativity and allow innovation within the team. This was an amazing experience for me, and I just want again to share with you the one thing that I wish I knew earlier. I had to do it fast to be able to get my job done, but you need to learn money. In our education, we are very focused on science. We're very focused on what our education, the core of our education is. But then at the end of the day, everything's a business. And I was an owner of P&L, profit and loss. And but that's not the only reason I recommend that you learn P&L and all things money and investment, but because this is really a key skill that we all need to develop for our jobs, but also for our personal management and personal investment. So get yourself a book on P&L or get yourself a book on investment. And the last thing that I would like to really recommend for everyone to always look for and aspire for is to learn more about yourselves. I heard Professor Mohammed Lattas speak and how incredible it is when you look at the underlying causes of things and how your beliefs shape your future. And just a few basics of psychology will make a huge difference. So it has been for me, and I also took a certification in coaching that helped me help myself as well as others in trying to develop and progress through our careers and our life. And that's basically my 10 recommendations for you guys today. And I hope it was helpful. You can connect with me or reach out through my LinkedIn or my email. I do dedicate some of my time for mentoring and coaching young colleagues. So please reach out if you need anything. I do it for free, but definitely I'll be very happy to support the new generations. So I hope this is helpful for you, and I hope it gave you just a little bit of a glimpse of what you can do to help yourself progress. Thank you so much, Rafa.
Hello, thank you so much, Doctor. I really enjoyed it a lot, and it's very, like, you summed up experience of many years in a very short time in a very interesting way. It's great, and I myself got motivated, and it really bring hope into our souls. So I believe also the audience enjoyed it a lot. It's amazing how you like, you know, one of the things that I believe it's very important to watch out, that failing is not the end of the world. Failing, it's part of the success path. So this, all of us as juniors need to watch it out, and consider that failing, it's not like you are hopeless case. No, it means that you are trying and you are succeeding. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate your time. And we have 1 minute before we move to Dr. Sirine. I thank you so much for how you summed it up, and if you can give us a small, a brief about how you can balance between your work and life, because it's, I believe it's very critical issue these days.
I'll tell you in a simple answer, Rafa. The answer is I don't. I don't balance. I integrate, and this is what I have learned early on. I really wanted to have the two, and I did not want to say yes to one and no to another. So I realized that you cannot choose one and not say no to the other. So I decided to blend them. So, so what I did is that I always involve my family in my purpose, and my purpose is not just to have a career. My purpose is really, as Dr. Muhammad was saying, about really having an impact on the community and on humanity. And my children, every day, they know that I don't go to work. I go to help other people who need treatment and need medication, and that's what has helped me a lot in integrating both. When I'm in the office, I do take calls from my kids. Everyone knows my family and my challenges in and out. So really, I don't try to balance. I have just integrated them both.
That's great advice. Thank you so much, Dr. Darein, for your time. I'm really glad to meet you today, and thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too.